Hey, it's me, Lucid. Today I'm here to review the Dangerous Experiments update and Eastern European weapon pack that just released. But I will be mainly asking the question, is it worth returning to GC for this update? By scoring the different additions / changes from 1 to 10, and then giving the update a final score. Now a small disclaimer before I crack on with the review. I beta test the game, which means I get the DLCs for free so that I'm able to test them. If you think that discredits my review on the DLC, then now you know. Anyway, let's get on with the review. Let's first go over one of my favorite changes, the schematic trees. As you can see on screen right now, you can see that all schematics have been placed in some kind of skill trees. So instead of before, when it was RNG for example, what schematics you got after finishing a base defense, or when it was RNG if you got clothing schematics you wanted when you killed a rival. Now instead, every time you complete such a task, you will gain up points that you use to unlock the schematics you want. I think this change is really nice because it removes one of the biggest pain points I have with the game, which is the big reliance on RNG on everything. This change is a step in the right direction to remove more RNG mechanics from GC. I don't think this change is perfect though, mostly the biggest gripe is the way you earn points for equipment items. It's very dumb. Basically you get a point every time you craft an item. So you just end up crafting a bunch of the cheapest craftable thing in the game, and you have enough points to max out the tree instantly. Other than that, this change is really good. So this change gets an 8 out of 10 for me. Alright, the next thing is the addition of 17 new craftable items. You can see the ones that got added on screen right now. So basically grenades, flares, EMPs, adrenaline shots and all other equipment can now be crafted. Not much to say about this, except that I think it's very good that we can craft equipment now. Maybe we'll push more people into using more equipment in the game, now since they are way easier to get. One of the gripes I have though is that I think the adrenaline schematic is way too cheap. I doubt anyone will ever run out of adrenaline now, so maybe make it a bit more expensive. Anyway, this also gets an 8 out of 10 for me. This update is looking good right now, let's see if it keeps being that way. Time for what probably most people are here for, the 3 new experimental weapons. And not to be a downer already, but I am very disappointed with the new experimentals. Only one of them is actually good. Let's start with the KVM-89. So the way this one works is when you shoot it starts overheating. And the more overheated it is, the more accurate it is, and then more damage it does. And also you basically must hipfire with it. The KVM-89 is actually not that good. Its damage output is not that great even when it's max heat, and it feels like the 5C version is actually a bit better than this one, so the experimental KVM-89 is not worth using. Next up, the experimental Magnus. The way this one works is quite weird. It basically acts like a normal Magnus up until it hits something. When it hits something, so a machine, a wall or any object in the game, it will go through it and explode into shrapnel, so almost like a shotgun blast. Now how good is the Magnus? This one is really bad. The initial hit does way less damage than a normal 5-count Magnus, and the shrapnel does not do a lot of damage either, but I will admit using the gun is quite fun, but it is almost useless in terms of power. And the last experimental we have is the Elstutzer. So the way this one works is that it almost acts like a grenade launcher, but it has a very big arch. So when you shoot a grenade, you need to keep it in the air for a certain amount of time before it will actually do some real damage. If you use it at close range, it will do almost no damage. So range is key with this one. It can be quite hard to get the hang of it, but when you get it down it's very fun. Now in terms of power, the L is actually quite decent. If you get the right distance on it, you can do some heavy damage to machines. Is it anything that competes with experimental PVG or KVM-59? Nope. But it fits nice in the middle of all experimentals. So this one is actually quite good. So since 2 out of 3 new experimentals are really disappointing, I'm afraid I'm gonna have to give the new experimentals a 3 out of 10 in score. I wish they were better and I hope they can buff the 89 and Magnus in the future. Alright. Last thing that I'm gonna talk about in this review is the new DLC, the Eastern European Weapons Pack. Here in Sweden on Steam it costs 499 euros and it introduces 4 new weapons, the PM71, the Wintowska 1891, the Volkov pistol and the Vosa VC68. Let's start with reviewing the PM71. This is basically the same as the KVM-59 and N60, uses the same ammo and has similar damage, though its recoil is very weird where it goes downwards sometimes, which makes it very weird to use. Other than that, it's a 7.62 LMG reskin, so it's very mediocre for being a DLC weapon. Next up we have the Volkov pistol. This is similar in the way that the PM71 is a reskin, where this one is a reskin of the Cloak and N9, and that's about it. It has some nice sounds and reload animations though, but the gun is overall also very disappointing. Now let's look at the Wintowska. This gun is actually not a reskin. We finally have a new bolt action sniper in the game, and it's actually quite good. It does quite high damage, it's very accurate. Only downside is that it's capped at 5 rounds in the clip. But this gun actually rivals the 5-round PVG a bit. So this gun is actually worth it. And the last gun we have is the Vosa. The Volts, I would say, is an automatic Murloc PP. It basically does high damage but runs out of ammo super quick. So if you are planning on using this gun, get the reload speed skills with it. Cause even with a 5 round mag it's only 20 rounds. But the gun is actually really good, does high DPS and is super accurate. So in conclusion, this DLC is very bittersweet. Two of the guns is boring reskins, and would I recommend this pack though for €5? Probably not. The PM71 and Volcom makes this pack feel overpriced for what it is. If they can somehow patch the Volcom and PM to make them not feel like reskins, I would recommend this pack. But it's not something I would recommend at this time. I will give this pack a score of 4 out of 10. So in conclusion, do I think this update is something worth returning to GC for? I would say a big maybe on that. If you want to try out the new experimentals and grind for them, go ahead. Other than that, there is not much else to do in this update. It was mostly bug fixes and quality of life changes, which is good I admit, but content wise it's a very disappointing update. If I would give the update an overall score with the weapon pack included, it would be a 4 out of 10. The new crafting schematic rework is the best thing in the update, but it's not much content to actually enjoy. If they buff the new experimentals and do some changes to the weapon pack, I would absolutely recommend you play this update. Anyway, that's it for this video, so let me know what do you think of the update. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.